Welcome to Drum Machine Vibes. I go by Even Though.
I go by the name of Byron G.
And we are producers for Hellhound Publishing. And this is episode 1, Studio Stories.
Yeah, baby.
So let's just kick things off. Like, when was the first time that you recorded a rapper or a singer?
Ooh, the first time I recorded somebody was, it was 2010. And it was my good buddy, who I still talk to today, Andy Ryan. He goes by the Big Ant Dizzle these days. He's actually doing a lot of shit. I had set up a studio in my bedroom at the time. That's when I had my cracked version of Fruity Loops.
Yep, and, previously mentioned.
Yep, and I set up a booth. I ran a wire across my room into my closet. I had a sock on top of like a Shure 58 or something like that.
Yeah.
Had it dangling from a hanger in my closet.
Yeah.
And we recorded like 10 tracks like that, and they all sounded like shit. Like pure straight.
Of course.
Pure dookie. The beats were mixed bad. The vocals were horrible. I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, man. And who could blame you? I mean, like, the world of tutorials hadn't really popped off at that point.
Not
like,
yet.
You might find a few things, but you can't just type in any question into Google or YouTube in 2010.
Yeah, not back then, yeah.
You know, they were damn near just over Ask Jeeves at that point.
Exactly.
Still mourning his death.
But yeah, that was that, man. It was, we recorded almost like every night until we thought we were done. Of course, we were drinking, we were smoking. It wasn't the best, nobody was in their perfect or right state of mind. But it was fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And what did you end up doing with those tracks? Were they like putting out an album or a mixtape, or were they just fucking around? Or
we released a tape. It was just straight burned CDs, nothing crazy. It said the Big Ant Dizzle on it, and then I went by. He called me B Run It, so that was me. And
we're gonna have to do an AKA at some point. That's good. I like B Run It.
It wasn't bad, It wasn't bad. Yeah. But yeah, we just gave him to friends, I think, and I still have my copy. I think he still has his, but it was it was a big pile of dookie, but it's got sentimental value these days.
Yes.
What's up with you, man? When did you record your first song or whatever album or whatever?
So, as we mentioned in episode 0, I started off by recording myself because I was making beats for myself.
Right.
So, but I did have like a sort of mentor. It was like a friend of a friend who introduced me to Cool Edit, previously mentioned as well.
Yes, sir.
And didn't really teach me anything about the process, but sort of just taught me like, click this, then this, then this. Yeah. And then I would ask questions and be like, don't ask questions, don't adjust nothing. And I was just kind of had this like almost not fear, but just like reverence for the parameters. You know what I mean? I just was like presets only, like don't mess with nothing. Yeah. And then I started recording other people like Dez and Blackie and Corey. I don't know if you know them, but shouts to them. They were all rapping heavy, and I was rapping heavy at the time, but we were just recording at my parents' house in an open room like the size of this, just the same acoustics as this. Yeah. My dad on the other side watching Seinfeld or whatever, banging on the wall, be like, I have been hearing the same beat for 4 hours on a loop.
Right. Yeah. Get used to it.
But my first time recording somebody else was probably like outside of like people that I was just like, yo, you don't rap, but I'll write for you and you can rap on the mic. Other than that, like someone who actually wanted to be on the mic, like wanted to do this shit, was probably, with Blackie. He went by 81 a key at the time.
81 a key, okay.
Yeah, which is like spelt out, to spit
That's
like
kind of dope,
BLAKA. Oh, it is really dope. Really clever too. So he was we did a song called Gimme Fever, and it was sampling, I think it's Etta James or Ella Fitzgerald. I get them mixed up, but it was You Give Me Fever. It was like a sample like that shit.
Yeah,
and this was like, high school era. He did double time on that shit the whole time.
Damn, okay. Ahead of his time, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll probably stick out as like the first time I did like a actual rapper session.
And you recorded basically like the whole thing in Cool Edit.
Yeah, exactly. And I I had exported the beat from Fruity Loops at the time because that's what I was using.
Yeah, I think I had back then. I had tried recording everything in Fruity Loops, and I don't know. People do it, and they can do it well.
I mean, props to whoever. Yeah,
I never figured it out.
I give props to anyone who can fully utilize any one piece of technology to like its fullest extent. Like see people who just master like the MPC or whatever. Personally, I have a very visual learning style, so the MPC never like caught on to me because I need to see the shit.
It's
that's
completely
just how
different.
Yeah, like if you have a very tactile learning style, MPC's right up your alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's all by ear. You know what I mean?
It's all like
muscle memory,
hand-eye muscle memory, and recall, because you got to like scroll through the shit. You know what I mean? Like
you're like literally nudging.
You're a safe cracker at that point.
Snares over just like a bit. That's what Dilla like. I just that's what he would do. He wouldn't quantize. He would time nudge basically.
Yeah, and to be a fly on the wall in the studio with Dilla, man.
I know.
That's somebody that I would just like fall back and just like observe.
Dude, just let him work, And from like every video I've seen with him and what I've read and stuff, it's like that's what everybody did. They would just be like Common. He was like sleeping on the couch.
Right.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
And Dilla was downstairs just like making beat after beat after beat after beat.
Right.
And people would just like let him do his thing.
I mean, what else could you do? Because he was doing something that like nobody had ever seen, so it was kind of like, don't disturb,
Yeah, dude, I've been super into like, I watched what was it? It was just a YouTube video on like his techniques.
Yeah,
and it was like really like the
guy was Vox one.
No, that one's dope. That one's super dope.
Watch that once a year.
Yeah, right. That one's really good. Yeah.
So. But like to be able to chop that up and make it into something else without being able to see the actual wave.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you didn't. It was basically just the screen that would show.
Yeah.
Like your drum kits or whatever sounds, and then you can't see a damn thing. All by ear, not quantizing anything like.
Right. Have you been in the studio with other people making beats?
Yeah, a couple. Not many though, to be honest. Now that I think about it. Shit. I don't think anybody, really.
Oh damn.
Yeah, have you?
Of course.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, man.
I mean, I was part of a producer duo for many years.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's how that spawned,
Yeah, I definitely only a couple people out in the West Coast where my buddy Carlo, he used Reason, then he also had an MPC. A couple of people, Reason was big out there, but in like Nashua, I have been literally like the only producer out of my whole entire like friend group.
Well, let's make that change.
That's crazy, dude.
Bro, like it's a different thing to, especially if you're watching them work in the environment that they create in, because they know everything's in like a hand's reach, everything's a shortcut, whatever.
Yeah.
The speakers are how they expect to hear it. Have you ever gone to another person's studio and played your beats and they sound totally different?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then they play their beats and they sound like immaculate.
Phenomenal,
because that's exactly.
Yeah. Dude,
So
I
you don't
mean,
stand a
shit.
chance.
I'm looking at the dude business room right behind you. You know, and
yeah.
I've actually seen him make a beat, but he's like one of the few out here. That's crazy. That's like mind blowing to me right now.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, being in the studio when Biz is making a beat is one thing, but like to be just one-on-one with the person and either be involved or not, just to see them doing their technique up close it's wild. Especially like people who do anything with sampling from vinyl.
Yeah, right.
Because I can't do that. I mean, I don't know how to do that personally, so that shit's very impressive to me. Like, so have you ever sampled from vinyl? I think.
Oh yeah. It's what I started out doing, and that's all I did for like 3 years out in California, and then last year I did a ton of vinyl sampling over there at the studio where you're at currently.
Yes.
But yeah, I've definitely dabbled with vinyl, and
that's dope, man. Yeah, I'm pretty much just I mean, the source of the sample, like the actual platform for me, or the medium for me, is not as crucial as the source itself.
Yeah,
that's the shit that interests me, like the obscureness of a sample.
Okay.
Which is like the opposite of how it started, because I started sampling like stuff that everybody would know.
Yeah,
I'd be
me
like,
too. Yeah.
Like, why would you sample shit that nobody would know? Like, they're not going to be able to tell what you did with it. Yeah.
Then,
But like, so do you have any standout stories or memories from sessions that weren't your first session? Best times in the studio?
Yeah, man. I honestly, I don't have too many like bad stories. Like, a lot of my sessions have been pretty good. I feel pretty lucky. Dude, I will tell you one though. Probably my favorite, right? So we were at my buddy Delo's house in Manchester. It was me, Delo, Dazzy was there, right? And we were, I don't know if you've heard our song Too Ill. I think we called it like All-Star Weekend or something like that.
Nah, I don't think so.
And Dazzy was in the booth, which was a closet. It was like a wooden like closet. It was pretty dope. It was like perfect. Everybody fit in there. We soundproofed it. He was in there doing the hook, and he had like just written it, so it wasn't like it was still fresh to him.
Right.
And he went in there, bro, and he like laid it down, right? And we were like, yo, that was dope. And he couldn't hear us. And this dude just like, we were all outside, and he just like booted open the door to this, like literally like kicked it open. He's like, yo, what you guys think? Blah, 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 blah. And we all just like started like dying, bro. Just the way that he's always so hyped, right?
Right.
And the way he just like busted out that shit like Superman, dude. It was, he'll remember. It was hilarious.
It was great, man. Especially knowing that Superman fucks with booths as well.
Right, yo. Oh man, he does. Yes, Superman does fuck with booths. Yes, he does.
There you go.
I was waiting for something like that. What about you, man? What's one of your like better sessions that you've had?
Ah, shit, man.
Fun.
Well, I worked with this cat named Red Sky 360, and he did a follow-up album to another album he did. And me and my co-producer produced a beat a day with him. Not like consecutively, but every time he came over, we just like made a new beat, and he wrote to it while we were making it pretty much.
Hell yeah.
Made a hook to it and like recorded it all without writing anything down. And it was just like the craziest like process, because it was so organic too, you know what I mean? Like 16 bars, 16 tracks, and like a hook.
Damn, that's a wild project, I mean?
Yeah, so it was called 16 More, and I think it's on like SoundCloud right now. But and that's like there's a lot of rappers who do albums that have like very specific themes or like conditions surrounding the recording process.
Yeah.
What do you think of stuff like that? You think it adds or it takes away or what?
I don't care. It's like, do what you want, because like I'm always like, I don't know. I always go in like, hey, like session's ready. I'm going to play this. Do what you need to do and let me know when you're ready.
Right.
That's pretty much just my, you know what I mean? Like some people got to, you know, they smoke or they say a prayer or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it because you're the one who's going to be putting in the work. Right now, I'm just hitting record. I might do a little delete, you know, I might hit
That's part of the game.
All the way back. I might, you know, send them all the way back to the beginning, but they're the ones rapping for those some odd hours. So whatever they want to do, go ahead and do it. But just make sure you're comfortable and your breath control is right. And you do what you want to do. Man,
I'm so glad to hear that you haven't had any bad studio recording sessions. Like,
you know, I've definitely had a couple. Definitely had a couple where it was just like, you get ready to record and you're like, you get that, like, God damn, I can't believe I'm about to do this again. Like with this, I don't even like it. Like, you know what I mean? But we got to just finish it type deals. There's been a lot of those.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but you know, a good amount where you're just like, I'm literally about to waste like 4 hours of my life right now. But but for the most part, no, I've always, especially as of late with doing a Kid Named Solo with Deja was a fun experience because I had just moved into the studio there, and it was that was like my first like legit studio space that I've been a part of. Yeah, and he was like right down the road, so I could show up at whatever. He'd be you know, he'd hit me up, be like, "Yo, swing through." "Oh, I didn't know you were there," and he'd come and he'd swing through. We we knocked out a ton of songs, and doing Meet Me in Gate City with Cody was a frickin' breeze, you know what I mean? And that guy, he's just another easy. He's just easy, you know what I mean? He already has his shit memorized, and we redid Meet Me in Gate City probably 3 times, and every time it got better. It got better
for gear reasons.
Yeah, we kept adding and taking it more serious. Like, obviously we're serious in the first place, but once we started getting more gear in there, I was like, all right, let's like do it again. And you know, this preamp's definitely going to make it sound better. It's going to be easier. The compression's going to control the peaks and whatnot. So it was, and by the third time doing it, it was like, all right, he knew what he was going to, the ins and outs of everything. He didn't really need to look at it. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been fortunate enough between him, Deja, my buddy D-Lo, and like I released a project with my cousin, and he was on point too. It's good to work with people who take it serious, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. And so I just wanted to mention before we get too far those projects that you had said, Meet Me in Gate City and A Kid Named Solo. Mm-hmm. You produced both of those, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And where can people find those?
You could find both A Kid Named Solo from Deja Solo and myself, and Meet Me in Gate City, Cody Pope and Byron G, Hellhound Publishing. .com. There you're able to buy physicals. We have them both on CD right now, and get off Bandcamp. And then if you're one of those, there's your Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere else.
Everything, man. Why don't we take this opportunity to cut to an official ad, and then when we get back from the break, we're gonna talk a little bit about some pet peeves that we have in the studio, because it's not always the best of times when you're working closely, especially with many creative minds. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna cut to a little homemade ad of us talking about those albums, and then we'll get right back to it.
Let's do it. What's good, everybody? I go by the name of Byron G, and if you head on over to hellhoundpublishing.com, you're going to be able to check out all the projects that Hellhound has released. Right now, you're listening to the new single called Scary Stories, which is off Meet Me in Gate City by Cody Pope and myself, Byron G.
thing, but the words you say don't mean a thing. You own your masters because nobody wants trash.
Now you're listening to Illest Motherfucker Alive from Deja Solo's debut project, A Kid Named Solo, produced by Byron G. And if you guys are just chilling, maybe trying to get a few bars off, you could throw on Rain Check, which is an instrumental album by myself, Byron G. Now back to drum machine vibes.
All right, we're back from break. This is Drum Machine Vibes. I am Even Though.
I'm Byron G.
All right, and we are talking about studio stories. So in the first half, we were talking a little bit about the many positive experiences in the first time recording, and who you'd kind of want to just be a fly on the wall for a session for. And now I kind of just want to talk a little bit about pet peeves that we have in the studio, and like where things can go wrong. And maybe it's not something that's in your control or anyone's control, but what are some things that grind your gears?
The number one thing that I cannot stand in studio during a session when you are recording somebody is this. Yo, what up? My name is Byron G, and I come from Hellhound Publishing, and
right.
The mic's right down here, but I'm going to talk up here and on this side and that side. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Okay, and here's why, to all the rappers who are confused, because like that's like sometimes if you're getting into it, I'd rather that than someone being stiff and like not riding the beat. Like do what you got to do to ride the beat, but keep your head pretty much in this area, because look what happens when you try to do this. It doesn't get a good sound.
Right.
And that's not what you want as an engineer, because it's hard to go back and stitch that. What are you going to put a reverse tremolo on that? I don't know.
Right. It's like, hopefully you have extra takes. So, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? What's up with you, man? What's yours?
I think the main thing would be doing too many punch-ins, or the opposite, which is wanting to go the entire length of a song.
Okay.
Which would be like, I want to do the first verse and then right into the hook, then right into the second verse, right into the hook.
Like you don't like
break.
people trying to Jay-Z it. Like.
No, I mean, even Jay had, I'm sure, a process where it would he'd ramp up and then be like, all right, start again. Ramp up, to get a little further, start again. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be just like, let me go the whole, like I've memorized it, let me go the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like we have the technology. That is old 1960s recording mentality.
This isn't reel to reel anymore.
Yeah, and now it's not that I've worked with people who've been in a reel to reel situation. I'm saying like, let me cut it up, or like suggest where you can punch in or something. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's almost like some people, I've definitely been in the room where people take pride in getting through the song in one take rather than having it sound the best that they possibly could and punching in.
Right. And there's ways around it where you can make it sound more fluid, you know, where it sounds more cohesive.
Exactly.
Because if you're worried about it sounding choppy, that's also up to the artist as well, because what you're trying to recreate is the feel of the flow. So you can, it's like what I encourage is artists to like rap along with it, and then once the shit comes in, you know, you just cut the rest of the part where you're rapping along with it, and we use that same momentum instead of just being like silent until and like waiting for your turn to jump in like double dutch or something.
It's like, all right, if you're punching in too, it's like, say like the last bar or something like that, so it sounds fluid when we're stitching
at least
it together.
The last two bars or something.
Exactly. That's what I always did, you know, when I
exactly. There's ways around these pet peeves. We're not just out here, you know, bitching and griping. There's solutions.
Absolutely. Very simple solutions.
Yes. Also, people who don't understand the sensitivity of the mic. So they either, again, it's a spectrum. You have people who kind of like mumble far away and scream up close.
Right.
Like, find that middle ground, please.
And do it all on that middle ground.
Stay
there.
if you can.
Yeah.
Or at least like have the presence of mind to move away from the mic.
Right.
Because that's another thing that you see like professionals doing in like live performances is they'll like turn away, they'll like move their mouth away when they're about to belt something really loud.
Right.
They just have that instinct because they know. So it's just these little things that people pick up in their experience that'll enhance the experience for everybody.
Yeah.
It just
you're going to sound better. You're going to sound better.
Absolutely.
You know? Also, like, when people get, like, too into it, and then, like, you're like, all right, he's killing it. And then he, like, bumps the microphone stand.
Damn, yes.
You know
that's
what I mean?
Rough.
That
That's
shit.
rough.
It's like, God damn it. Like, you're so close. I do got to mention one more thing.
What's that?
When you get big-headed artists that go in and just, like, instantly kill the vibe. Like, instantly.
In what way? Don't give names, but give an example.
Yo, can you make it sound like this? Yo, can you put a little reverb? It's like, bro, we're recording right now. Like, I'm not about to put reverb on your audio track while you're recording. Like, we're doing that after.
I've pandered to that, and I think it's one of those things. Like, if they want to act bougie in Hollywood, whatever. Like, yo, put me in auto-tune or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, give me the things that T-Pain has. You know,
Yeah,
make me sound like, you know, whoever, Future. Like,
Yeah.
So I'll be like, if that's what it's gonna take for you to like get your best performance out, I'm just a few clicks away from that. You know what I mean? Like, especially if I know how to do it. Like, I've you know, I think I've come far enough to be like, yeah, I can just, you know, throw this, you know, pre whatever, blah blah blah, send XYZ.
You're too nice, man. For me, I'm like, hell no. I'm just kidding. Wait till after now. But yeah, I don't know. So you wouldn't put it on while you're still tracking though, right? And record with it on.
It's only, I think it's only for monitoring. It's not gonna affect the actual wave.
Okay, so that's okay. So you do it like that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not like recording it with the effects pre-embedded in the waves. Or
okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, damn.
Nah, it's just so they can hear the reverb as they're rapping into the mic on the input.
I got you. Yeah. Like I'm cool with like, you know, all right, well, let me slap on like a preset like vocal chain, just so in your head you're like, oh, that's gonna sound dope, and then I'll shut it off or whatever when we go and record again. But I hate when they're like instantly like, bro, like you spit 8 bars. Yo, can I hear it like this and like that? It's like,
oh, okay, yeah.
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
you know. That's more of
yeah.
what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. That okay. So that part, is easily remedied by rappers and MCs and singers just having a better idea of the post-production process and what can and can't be done in a timely fashion in that way. Like, but we can also meet them halfway by having I do like a preset template where every time I open up a new Logic, there's already buses 1 through 8 occupied with effects and delays and whatever, so I can just, you know, 3 clicks away again from just like giving them what they want in that moment, you know. And if they ask for more beyond that, I'll be like, that's a fine tuning thing that like might take a little more time, you know.
Definitely,
you kind of have to do it like paywalls on like subscriptions. Like, you don't get that feature. Like that's a post-production feature. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah, I get you.
But where do you stand as far as like leaving the studio with what I call a bumpable mix?
Yeah,
like something you can play in the car, something you can have evidence that you did something that day.
Definitely, that's usually what I'll do. I'll and it's actually it works really well when you have even just like a preamp.
Yeah,
because I'll throw on during the process of recording. I will have I'll have my preamp on, obviously, and then I'll have slight compression on it. And coming from Cody, he's like, yo, like I can hear myself so much better, and it helps me record like that.
Right.
So basically, like that's pretty much what I'll do, unless I'm like, if I have a little bit more time, then I'll, EQ it a little better, and but I'm not trying to like throw some half-ass shit on there. I'll so basically what I'll do is I'll throw a limiter on there.
There you go.
Something along those lines to just like boost the volume.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like, don't expect me to like fine tune your delay and your reverb and
exactly.
really deep dive into your EQs and stuff like that. The same day, like we'll record whatever, I'll take a little break, I'll go home, and then maybe later that night I'll get into it, or the next day. I don't do it all in the same session.
Right. And that's another thing where just knowledge of post-production and the effort that goes into something. It's like, I mean, have you ever worked at a restaurant?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so having worked at a restaurant, you treat the restaurant experience now when you go to dine, you treat it differently because you know what those people
1000%.
do. Right. It's like a form of empathy. So you understand the process a little differently. So you're not like, yo, give me this substitution, that,
Yeah.
So that would be the equivalent of being like, yo, give me that auto-tune right away.
Exactly.
Like,
you're right on, you hit it right on the head.
So like, if not necessarily everybody should be an engineer, be a producer, be a rapper, like just to feel everyone's vibe, like to walk in their shoes, but just get an essence of like what it takes to do that. Just like observe, you know?
It's a steady process. It's you don't wanna. Your ears are already hurting from that 4-hour session of recording, and you're not gonna hear it the same way as if you were to, take a break and then come back. Like,
exactly.
We've all been there where you've literally spent 8 hours listening to the same 4 frickin' songs or 3, whatever, and it just doesn't sound the same anymore. As you go down, like once the next hour hit, it's not gonna sound the same as it did the previous hour.
Yeah, man. Ear fatigue is a very real thing.
Absolutely.
And it's not like nose blind though. Like that's a real thing too. But ear fatigue is more like okay, there's that swirly part of your ear, the cochlea.
Yeah.
It has hairs in it. And when sound goes in your ear, it makes the hairs vibrate.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have tinnitus, like the steady in
Yeah.
your ears, the hairs have kind of like been singed. So they're always like in this state of like, what's going on or whatever,
Yeah.
you know? So like, don't quote my exact science on this, but like, so when you are listening to the same thing over and over, you're creating like this constant strain on the same exact like parts of the ear, same exact parts of your brain. Like it's just like it's like saying the words, like saying a word over and over. It just kind of loses its meaning. What's a beat that you could never really get tired of that either you've made or the other person that's made?
Dude, for me personally, I like stuff like I like everything, but the stuff that like really hits me is the stuff that like makes me want to frickin' cry. So it's not like hard, like, you know, oh, yo. It's more of like a more relaxed, like,
okay.
I put me in my zone, just like smooth stuff. Like that's the type of stuff that really like touches me in a sense.
So to tie it all together, the song "The Light" by Common by Dilla, the beat by Dilla.
Yeah,
that's one of those like I didn't like that beat is so hard, and it also like gets you in the field.
Yeah, for sure.
There is a light that shines
special for you and me.
Yes, there it is. We owe Dilla money now.
yeah. Hey, that's the type of stuff that really, like, I'm, you know, especially as I get older, like, I'm not, obviously if I hear DMX, like, I'm gonna go crazy, but those songs that, yeah, you know what I mean, like that shit's just gonna, it just hits different.
Yeah.
But if you play me like a smoother, like riding beat types, I'm there, like I'm for it.
Hey everybody, I go by Even Though. Just want to take a break from drum machine vibes to let you know about the album that I produced that was released on Hellhound Publishing. It's called Solstitial. It is a typo. I know it's not a real word, but it's a very cool, kind of lo-fi album. And this is one of the beats from it. At the end of 2022, Trip Seat put out a phenomenal album called Carnivora. It's unlike anything you've ever heard until now. No. Until now. You're hearing it now. That boy crazy. Anyways. And now back to drum machine vibes with myself, Even Though, and Byron G. All right, and we're back. So we're just gonna wrap things up here. And Byron, I saw that you had a video drop in of a beat breakdown. Why don't you tell us about that before we?
Yeah. So last week I was working in Serato studio, and I recorded my entire session of just making an instrumental, a beat, and I'm gonna do a little beat breakdown. I chopped it up nice, so I'm kind of explaining what I do as I'm doing it. The entire session where you could see Serato and see me in the corner. It's live. Like that was me literally in the process of making it. And then I just kind of, you know, went back in and told you what I was doing. So that'll be dropping on Monday exclusively on
YouTube
Hellhound Publishing YouTube channel, where you find this. I definitely plan on doing a lot more as well.
Hell yeah, man. Look forward to seeing those. So for all those out there listening and watching, stay tuned for another Drum Machine Vibes.
I go by the name of Byron G.
And I'm Even Though. Peace out.
Peace, y'all.